So in this day and age, in kind of certain circles of the lifting community, I feel like injuries are almost used as kind of a sign of accomplishment. Getting injured, throwing up, excessive DOMs, these all seem to be kind of big problems in the community in terms of I've done really well because look how much I've hurt myself. Or maybe look how much pain I'm willing to ignore in the pursuit of fitness. In theory, I kind of get the point, but I don't like it. I'm not going to go in about that kind of line of thinking and the problems that come from it in this video, but I do want to talk about probably one of the most easily preventable and avoidable injury, I'm going to call it, in the gym that's going to really hinder your training in the long term and the short term, I guess. Something you can do to avoid wasted time and pain in the gym that doesn't need to be there. I want to talk to you about hand care. So we just finished a workout and everything's going quite nicely. I'm sure you'll see it in my update video. But we're talking about obviously the weights going up, everything looking nice, the deadlifts are getting heavier, so I'm handling a lot more heavier weights in my hand, and as well as the climbing is starting to go quite nicely. So I'm pushing myself to a lot harder climbs, more dynamic movements, and it's really opened my eyes to, again, I think you should practice what you preach, and one of the things I do preach is hand care. So I'm going to want to see if you can see it, but it's not terrible. It's by no means the worst case I've ever seen, but it's the early signs of a thing that you should be worried about. You don't want to wait until it becomes a big issue to start worrying about it. You know, same as anything. You don't want to wait until you've got a full cavity to start looking after your teeth. You want to do it any early signs, or you should be doing it beforehand anyway. Prevent those things from getting to that point of despair or not a good situation. But as you start lifting, you start realizing you're getting little hard pads on your hands. These are called calluses. So it just starts as a protective measure. It's normal, it's gonna happen. I'm really sorry. I know I get a lot of people who do get a bit worried saying, oh, I don't want to have worker hands, I don't want to have raw hands, I don't want to look like a man. I often get. Again, don't worry, no one cares. I'm sure you care a little bit. We can do our best to look after it, but there's going to be some semblance of toughening up of your hands to handle the new stressors that you're given to. It's just a normal adaptation as anything else is. The problem happens as we keep on lifting, getting better and better. Our skill goes up, the weight goes up, everything becomes increasingly more battering on your hands, and we're not doing anything to counter that. And that's when you often see such a heavy buildup of quite thick skin, which can very quickly lead to quite big tears, or again, just doing way too much, way too fast, and just putting unnecessary amounts of stress, or I guess stress that your hands can't handle, just an amount that is just too much to the point where the hands can't take it, it starts to rip, and then you get pulled calluses, and that is not a good position to be in. So what can we do to prevent that from happening? I'm going to show you guys a couple things that I want you to do to start looking after yourself and start doing those preventative measures to start from getting that brick wall, because once you tear one, once you get to the position where it's raw to the touch, you are going to be out of commission for a little bit of time. And the hands is the basis of anything. It all starts with the hands. Most things start with the hands. The first thing I want you to do is invest in moisturizer. Doesn't have to be incredible, doesn't have to be any fancy schmancy one. Just get regular amounts of moisturizer and filter it through your life. I have one everywhere. Think about the main points you could be spending most of your day and just filter a handful through there. I've got one in my desk, I've got one in my car, I've got one in my living room, I've got one next to my bedside when I wake up first thing in the morning. I just have it everywhere. You're not going to use it all the time, every single time you go to those places, but you want to make sure you have it available at all times. You have one that you try to carry around everywhere, you're going to misplace it, you're going to put it somewhere, you're going to forget where it was, and once you misplaced it, it's just going to be a delay to what should be quite a regular habit. Moisturizing is a great thing. It's not just for your face, it's also for everything. Second thing I want you to do is start filing down your calluses. Just look online, look in any healthcare shop, you'll probably find one of these. It's just a hand file. You can even find the foot files that are a little bit more rougher for the more hardier cases, depending on how much pressure goes through your hands. But it's such a cheap investment that makes such a difference to how much your calluses build up over time. I keep mine in the shower. It just means once a week, maybe twice a week, depending how heavily they're building up. I'm just gonna go over my hands once they've softened up in the shower, once it's nice and loose. I'm gonna shave away some of the top layers of that really thick, hard skin. I'm not gonna do it loads. Right at the beginning, when you start, 20-30 seconds would probably do it. You just want to get rid of some of the top layers without trying to overstress the fresh layers that are fine. You don't want to start getting to doing it to the point where the good skin becomes raw skin, because then you've got your own different problem. So all you need to do is several few passes over it, just get away some of the top layers, get rid of some of the flaking, and just make it nice and smooth. A lot of the ones have two sides, you have a rough side and a smooth side. Just smoothing it out, work your way at it, and just maintain those calluses. Homework. All you're gonna do, every time you file your hands down, moisturize. Every time you do a heavy session, moisturize. If you do climbing, or maybe you're a laborer, use a lot of tools in your hands after work, moisturize. Just get in the habit of looking after your hands and just doing what is several seconds of work that is probably going to save you ample amounts of times in the long run. And these are the little things that makes a good lifter into a great lifter, in my eyes. Hand care. My last quick bonus tip: when you're deadlifting, there is a habit of wanting to put the bar in the middle of the palm when you're grabbing the bar. When you do that, that's going to exacerbate a lot of the main calluses that tend to be the problem area. One easy way to fix that is just to move the bar slightly up on top of the calluses. Make sure your fingers still wrap around it. You're going to have very similar power output from the hands. You're going to be able to grip the same weight, but it's not going to put as much stress on the calluses. Don't exacerbate the problem. The moisturizer and the file is going to make a difference in terms of maintaining it, but you got to make sure you're not overstressing and again exacerbating the original issue. If you can do those few things, you're going to have nice supple hands that will make people jealous and envy you, no matter what you're lifting. And that's what we're here for. Envious hands. So just a quick one for me today. I hope you learned something. If you enjoyed, leave a like. Other than that, have a lovely day.